Alrighty, it is time to mess about with these forks because we are at the point now where on this bike I've done pretty much everything I can do short of putting the wheels on. Now I've got the wheels down here, but I don't have any tyres on them yet, so that will be the next job I think after doing these forks. But obviously wheels need to go on the forks first. I mean, I could put the back one on, but again, no tyre. So, basically what the plan is take these forks apart, get rid of the old oil. I've ordered some new bushings, some new washers, O-rings, all sorts. There's also a piston in here, down the bottom here, and that is held in by a bolt in there. I don't know if you can see it, just in there. And the only way to undo that is to hold the piston. Now you need like a tool to do that. So I found you can buy them. You can buy them from TJ Brutal Customs, but for the sake of saving a bit of money and, you know, again, get to make another tool myself, what I've done is I bought some 16mm threaded rod with a couple of M16 nuts, which I believe should be 24mm wide. So that will then slot down the end here and should allow me to turn one end, and that will hold the piston in place so I can undo that bolt. All of this will then come out, and then it will just be a case of cleaning it up, putting the new bushings on the slides, putting the new seals in, washers, etc, etc. I've also bought some new caps because these ones, they're like, I don't know, these weird preload, I don't know what they are, really strange. I'm going to get rid of them, put some normal caps on that are the same as these ones. These ones are sort of, when you take these dust seals off, they're full of gunk. I don't know what's been done with them, but it's a mess. They are also covered in this old paint, so I'm going to get that off. Not sure what colour I'm going to go with these. I might just carry on with the satin black, because what I'm finding is with this bike is it's a lot more grey silver than I had sort of thought about in my head. I thought it was going to be too black, so I tried to stay away from black, and now it's ended up very grey. That will change once I get a bit of colour on it, with the colour on the tank and the reservoir overflow tank. I'm going to paint that the same colour as the tank as well. And the, where is it? This is the case for the speedometer. I'm going to do that in the same colour as well. Oh, and also the rear fender, that is already painted. So there will be some colour on here. But what I'm kind of thinking is maybe I just match the forks to be the same as this sort of tough satin black. That'll probably give it a bit of protection anyway. I'm not really bothered about painting these a colour, so I think I'll just do those black the same as this, keep it all uniform. Anyway, time to get these disassembled. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, took the cap off, went to pour all the fork oil into here. There's no fork oil in it. It's just empty. Or at least I think it's empty. There we go, spring. Let's take that guy out. Yeah, man. It's hard to do with one hand. Spring's out. What the? Like, I really thought I would pull this out and there'd be some, like, there's not even a drip. Not a single drip. What the? I mean, I knew this bike wasn't well looked after, but there's no oil in the forks. Like, none. Bloody hell. Right, that was a bit of a faff, but I think that was mainly because this thing has never seen oil in its life. Yeah, so here we go. So cap, That came off first, obviously. And then we've got this little spacer. The little spring washer goes on top here. Then we've got the spring. So on this model, the tighter coils go at the top of the stanchion. The looser coils go in first. This is the spring piston, fork piston, whatever you want to call it. Weirdly, what I was talking about earlier. So here's the essentially the nut where you put the nut or the bolt, whatever you want to do, the tool. That's to hold this still. Focus. That's to hold this still, so you can tighten up the threads inside here. Weirdly, which were incredibly loose. This little screw just came out the side of the fork leg here, and this is the bolt which goes into the bottom here. It's all pretty straightforward. On here you've got the dust seal, I think, and then the actual oil seal itself, but that seems to be stuck in under there. That's why it was such a pain to try and get out of here. Then you got like another little washer, and then the bushings. So I bought a new pair of bushings. I've also got a new crush washer, one of these guys. That obviously creates a seal for this. What else have I got that's coming that's new? It's new, one of these spring seats, and obviously the new seals. So basically it is just a case now of cleaning this thing up, getting all the old, getting all the old oil off it. There's none on it. It's almost dry. It's ridiculous. Getting this old seal off, and then just basically laying out everything in the way that I took it out so I can put it back in. Get these old bushings off. They don't look too bad, but I mean, considering the state in which I've disassembled this, having no oil in it whatsoever, I really don't want to leave these in there. I'm going to replace those. So I've got new inner bushings, new outer bushings, new seals, new dust covers, because this didn't actually have any, which is why this spring clip is so rusted, because basically the water had just gotten down inside here, rusted the whole thing out. What else? New crush washer. Yeah, so basically it's just a case now of getting this thing cleaned up, getting the old paint off of this, cleaning these guys up. I'll probably leave them, they've got a slight film of oil on. I'll probably leave that on there just because I'll get flash rust otherwise. But I will clean up all the grime and gunk off of these washers and stuff. They're looking a bit crusty. These caps will end up going in the bin, so I'm not going to reuse these. Yeah, and just checking this thing for dents and scratches. I don't think there are any. It looks pretty good. As with everything on this bike, it's got spray paint all over it, so I'll have to gently get that off. But otherwise, the actual stanchion itself looks pretty good. All right, there we go, paint off. I mean, I did use a steel wire brush instead of a brass one, but this one is so soft. It hasn't left really any deep scratches or any deep marks on this. I am going to Scotch-Brite this anyway, so whatever marking is on there will just disappear. I am in two minds about removing these. Now, these are just, this is all cast, so these could be removed. I have seen people do it. Basically what they are the front fender support sort of threads here. Now, this bike didn't come with a front fender, so I either have to buy one or remove them. Now, I know on a lot of sort of chopper style bobbers, they don't have a front fender. I don't intend to ride these bikes in the wet, so removing it is an option. I suppose that does increase the risk of junk flying up off the road into the radiator, which is not great. But to be fair, if I was going to put a fender on it, I would probably cut it right back to have a really short one. sort of, yeah, very, very short, probably only to like maybe here. So basically it would just act as a fork brace. So I'm in two minds about whether I'm going to file these down or leave them on. I'll have a think about it. I'll probably look up some pros and cons, but I know so many people have done it. Maybe I can just file them down. I know I can file them down because they don't go all the way through. Obviously, they sort of stop inside here, so all of this is solid, so that can be filed down. I just don't know whether I want to do that or not, but I'll have a think about it. But anyway, yeah, I kind of got carried away with the wire wheeling. I thought I'd give it a go and then ended up doing the whole thing. But yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it just needs a bit of a go over with some Scotch-Brite, which will, have I got any? Yeah, I've got some. Yeah, so that'll come up quite nicely, I think. It should just, yeah, that's looking pretty good. I mean, obviously I'm just doing that one-handed, but yeah, that's looking pretty nice. As soon as they make it all uniform, and then that will get a layer of, where is it? I've got this satin black tough paint that I've been using. I use this on my last bike as well. I think I mentioned that before. But it's really good stuff. You can apply it straight to metal. You don't need any primer. And it also doesn't need any lacquer. So it is literally just paint straight on the metal, let it dry, it cures by itself, and it is ridiculously tough. So it's been a couple of days. I'm still waiting for some parts to arrive, mainly the bushings inside, the forks, and the new seals and the dust covers and stuff. They're still in the post. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take apart this one. I've made some space on my bench on this side, so I'm just going to take this guy apart and then basically get it into the same state as this one, which, by the way, the paint has now dried on this, which looks so much nicer. Yeah, that looks really nice. I'm really pleased with how this has come out. Obviously, looks so much nicer than this one. Not that you can really see because the light is terrible, but don't worry for it. Yeah, this one looks really good compared to what it was originally like. Yeah, oh, also, I've ordered some 16mm threaded rod. This is an M16 nut as well that goes on the end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screw that on and then weld the end here, and then same with the other side. And basically what that will let me do is that will then go down inside inside the stanchion here, all the way down, and it will reach this. This is the piston, and basically what that will do is this nut will then be able to fit into this 24mm I don't know, recess, I guess. That goes in there, and then I can then tighten from this end, so I can then tighten this bolt which goes into the bottom here, and then this won't just spin round and round and round endlessly. I'll actually be able to tighten it up. So that was the whole point of that. You can buy these tools on TJ Brutal Customs website. I didn't at the time. I probably should have done, but I knew that I could buy the fork seals and all that other stuff locally quite cheap. So I didn't want to spend a fortune on doing all that when I could just get a length of steel and a couple of nuts and then just make it myself. Not that there's anything wrong with buying it from other people, but I like making stuff, and if I can see something that I can use a few times. Like, I'm still gonna have to use this other bike, so yeah, it will come in handy in the future, and it will just be one of those things that I've got. And if I ever need 16mm threaded rod for anything, I've got a meter of it. Yes, so I'm gonna stop waffling on, and I am gonna get this thing stripped down. So once again, there doesn't appear to be any oil in this fork. I don't really know what to think about that, but I pulled it upside down again and not a drip. So, I mean, I suppose that's good for me because I'm disassembling them. I don't know how long they've been like that, or whether they were drained when they were taken off. Well, I suppose I took them off. I don't know how long they've been drained for, which is slightly concerning. But I mean, there's nothing rusty in there, but it is a little worrying that nothing. I mean, it does have a film of oil on it, so it's not like it's been completely bone dry inside. But it does make me wonder why there's no oil in the fork. Because I know this bike was a project for the other guy, but why would you take all the oil out of the forks before you were ready to service your forks? I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's a good thing for me, because I don't have to mess about with trying to get rid of tons of oil. But yeah, this is completely empty. Weird. So unfortunately I didn't get lucky with this one. The bolt that holds the piston in, the one I've just been talking about, you can see it in there, just in there. That is, that's just spinning. I can't undo that. So basically what that means is this piston inside here is just rotating round with that bolt, which is the whole reason for wanting to make this thing. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is just pause taking this apart temporarily, make this tool, and then use it how it was intended. There you go, just in case it wasn't clear what I was actually doing. Threaded rod, I've left it at the full meter because I'll explain that in a minute. But basically, weld the nut to the end, sort of filed the edge down there so it doesn't interrupt anything. Same with this one, the nut is welded onto the end, filed down so it's, you know, flat at the end, doesn't interfere with anything. Anyway, what this will then do is that will allow me to insert the rod down into here, all the way down into the top of the piston, which is here. So you can see that is a 24mm, so that fits nicely on there. And basically what that will do is that will allow me to hold this thing still, so I can turn the bolt in the end of the forks down there, and let me remove that bolt. Because unfortunately, whilst this one in this fork was really loose and just sort of fell out, this one is tightened into the piston, so the piston is just rotating when I try and undo the bolt. The reason I didn't cut this down, now this does not have to be as long as this. I think it only needs to be probably maybe 30 inches or something to reach from the top of the piston, which is about here inside or something like that. So it has to reach from here to the end there. You can also compress the stanchion down a little bit, so you can, it doesn't even need to have to be the full length. The reason I didn't do that is because I did measure this and try and figure out where I need to cut it, and I'm pretty sure it was about here. So it didn't need to be this long. The reason I didn't cut it, 2/3 down the length, is that knowing my luck, I'll need a really long piece and I'll have cut it just short of what I need. So I figured if I weld a bolt on the end, nut on the end, of each end, if I ever need to take these off, which, who knows, I can just cut that bit off and I've only lost the depth of the nut, which is probably about 12 mil. It's not a big deal, and I'll still have pretty much a full length of rod to play with. That's more of a future-proof thing for me. I probably won't ever need this other than for what I'm using it for now. So who knows? That might be a complete waste of time. Maybe I'll change it in the future. I probably won't. But yeah, that's the tool done now. So it should let me now remove the piston in there. There we go, just like that. The other fork is disassembled. So I thought I was going to have a bit of an issue with this, mainly because it was really stiff to try and pull this out, but I just did a little squirt WD-40 and it seemed to come free. Yeah, the piston came out exactly as I sort of expected it should do. Yeah, it is just a case of, obviously when this bolt is in here and you try and turn this bolt, this thing is just free turning inside here, so it's really difficult to get out. Yeah, I mean, same thing as the other one. You got the old worn bushes, you got the seal on there. This one as well was missing the weather seal that goes around the top of this guy. And then, yeah, I mean, all the usual other parts. So I'll just do exactly with this one what I did with this one. Keep them separate so I know what parts belong to what fork. And then it will just be a case of stripping this thing, getting the old paint off this guy, painting it again so it looks nice as this one. And then when the other parts turn up, it'll be putting on the new bushings, the new seals, putting it back together, retightening the piston, putting the oil in, putting the new caps on, forks will be done, stick them in the bike. Oh, there we go. Load of effort later. That has been completely wire brushed, same way I did this one. It's had a couple of coats of paint. I've not done the final coat just yet. It's just had its second, so this is like, it's had its first sort of mist coat. This is the second coat gone on. And then I'll do the final cover coat after that. Somewhat weird with these caps, I thought I'd show you guys. Maybe someone knows why they're like this. But these fork caps, they've got like this weird, I mean, you see these on like tires and things, but basically it's got a valve on the top and then inside it's just been siliconed shut for some reason. Don't really know why. I've never seen these valves before myself. Yeah, it just seems to have been filled with like silicone or something, and then inside here is just like a normal Schrader valve. I'm not really sure why you would have those on top of your forks. Maybe, I mean, it's going to be obvious online if I just did put in a bit of effort and chucked it into Google, but yeah, I've not seen this before. Really strange. Not really sure why you would fill it up with silicone though. Just one of those weird things that I keep finding on this bike. Anyway, I'm replacing these, so it's not a big deal. But I thought I'd just update you where I was. This is now pretty much at the same stage of this, barring this final coat of paint on this guy. Yeah, so we'll catch back up when the seals arrive and the new caps, and then it'll be time to reassemble these. So all my bits have arrived. I've got the bushings here and the clips and the O-rings and the crush washers, and then I've got the new seals and the dust cover things. These arrived, the new caps. Unfortunately, it seems like these forks might not have been the originals to the bike, because these caps were bought for my model of bike, which is the 1994. And these ones, you can see the thread is just completely different. So I'm not really sure. I'm not going to be able to use these at all, because I have tried to thread them into the end of this, and while they do go in, you can just tell that the thread is just completely different to that one. It's so much finer. So what I might do is, if they are the originals, and these are the original forks, then I'll probably maybe use them on this bike, because these ones are a bit knackered and rusted. So I'll probably keep them spare for this one when I do the forks on this bike. But I think, unfortunately, for this one, I'm not going to be able to use them. And as I don't know if these are even the original forks for this bike, I don't know what I need to replace these with. I guess I could try and find some in the future, but I might just have to clean these up and reuse them. The pack did come with new O-rings, so I can replace those at least. Also, I did a bit of Googling on what these little valves are. Apparently they are for increasing the air pressure. I mean, it should be obvious. They're you know, valves that you get on tires, but apparently they're for increasing the air pressure in the forks, just to give you a bit more of a stiffer suspension. Apparently, from what I understand, Honda didn't put these on the Shadow. So these caps are either aftermarket caps that got shoved on, but I'm starting to doubt that because they match the thread in here. So I'm thinking possibly these aren't the original forks for this bike. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just clean these caps up and use these ones. So out of all the tools that I don't have for this job, it probably wouldn't be on your bingo card for the one that I do have, which is a Schrader valve inner core removal tool. Basically, these are for removing the inner core of the valve. So this thing here. Yeah, so that's that thing inside there. I'm thinking the reason these were probably filled with silicone is because whoever put these on or decided to use these found that maybe the seals had gone and oil was coming up through here, so they filled it with silicone. But basically this guy just goes inside here, you twist it, and then the valve comes out. Well, the core of the valve anyway, I should say. So just give that a little bit of a twist, and then that's your inner core there. So I'm going to get rid of this one, take one of my new ones, which I just happen to have. I think they came in like a pack of 3 or something. I only needed to use one for the job, and then I'm just going to screw this new one in. So yeah, I guess job done. But I'm going to clean these up because I am going to have to reuse these, as I mentioned. So I am just going to splash them with a bunch of brake cleaner, give them a good brush with this little nylon brush, and then they should be pretty much, you know, usable. Right, that's these guys cleaned up. Just gave them a quick polish, nothing crazy, just to make them a bit nicer looking, really. I think the contrast on the black on the yolks will look good anyway. So yeah, just gave them a little bit of a polish, replaced the valves, chucked them in the ultrasonic cleaner in the end. I didn't bother too much with the little nylon brush. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to start putting these two back together. One minor issue I came across, this is a fork seal driver. It's like a weighted driver that slides down over here. And what this is supposed to do is help you seat your oil seals. So when they're in there, you basically, this acts as like a little hammer and it helps press them in. This is one I had from my last bike build. It's 43 mil, I think. Yeah. And then these are 39. So it goes over, but the problem is it's too wide to fit nicely in there. So what I've done is I've 3D printed this little collar. Basically that is just gonna make up the difference between the driver and the seal itself. And that will just go around the outside edge of that. Misses the seal on the inside, so they won't damage that in any way. But then basically I'm just gonna hammer this down on top of this 3D printed thing, and that should just seat this nicely. Alright, that's one leg fully assembled. It took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but that's all in there now. I don't think these are the stock legs. Like, I really feel like they've come off a different bike. Mainly because I followed the instructions for where to fill the oil level. So do it with the spring out, and then the manual says 111 millimeters, I think, or 4.4 inches from the top. So I've got my caliper, and I've just measured that internally down to there, and it's used well over half of the oil that I've got. So, but the manual says the fork should take 460 to 470 milliliters, and that's a litre in there, so I shouldn't have used over half. I've definitely pumped it all the way to get all the air out. I let it rest for a bit, pumped it again, filled it up, and I mean, this is as full as I can get it, but I'm worried now that I'm not going to have enough oil for this one. But I'm going to do that one now and see how we get on. Right, that's the forks finished. Yeah, pretty much went smoothly. Not too many issues. I did have to buy some more oil, but I've had that issue in the past before. New issue that I've run into. I don't know if you can see in here, but the threads in there have been completely stripped. So that's not great. In that second chamber, so in just here, they are completely stripped out. Didn't realise that before. I think this one's not in the best condition either. So I think what I'm going to have to do is probably tap a bit further down. Now I do have a set of taps, so that's not really an issue. It's an M8 1.25 thread pitch, so I think the plan is going to be just tap further down into the aluminium, and then get some longer bolts. And that is the forks back in. Yeah, looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. It actually looks a bit more like a bike now. I'm going to replace these bolts with stainless ones. These ones are already stainless, but I just don't feel like they go deep enough. I think these are the wrong bolts for what came out of them. They're a little bit short, so I'm going to replace those replace these ones with some stainless. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with how that looks. Yeah, it all went pretty good. I did have to, like I say, buy a little bit of extra oil. Just, I don't know, every time I do forks, it always seems like the manual says it takes less than half a litre of oil, and then you end up with less than half a litre left when you come to do the second fork. So this time I just ended up buying a little 500ml bottle just to top that up, but that will save me for when I do this one, because no doubt I'll have the same issue. But yeah, these are looking good. I will probably replace these with some like nice like metal dust caps, I think, or something like that. That should look pretty good. But yeah, it's starting to look more like a bike now rather than just a frame with an engine in it. I'm pretty happy with that. These turn nice and smooth. Yeah, that basically means I can torque this bolt down, and yeah, that is the forks done.